report claims nearly 200 banks are at risk of collapsing, just like Silicon Valley Bank SVB did. Nearly 200 banks, U.S. banks, are at risk of insolvency, and according to an international economic report, could collapse similar to the way Silicon Valley did last week. The report claims that even if only half of uninsured depositors decide to withdraw, almost 190 banks are at a potential risk of impairment to insured depositors, with potentially $300 billion of insured deposits at risk. InfoWars reports a study by 4 economists from top universities posted to the Social Science Research Network on March 13 claimed that Federal Reserve interest rate hikes have devalued assets like U.S. Treasuries held by these banks. From March 7, 2022 to March 6, 2023, the federal funds rate rose sharply from 0.08% to 4.75%, and this increase was accompanied by quantitative tightening. As a result, long-dated assets similar to those held on bank balance sheets experienced significant value declines during the same period, they said. Combined losses and uninsured leverage provide incentives for SVB uninsured depositors run. We compute similar incentives, they said, for a sample of all U.S. banks. Even if only half of uninsured depositors decide to withdraw, almost 190 banks are at a potential risk of impairment to insured depositors, with potentially $300 billion of insured deposits at risk. If uninsured deposit withdrawals cause even small fire sales, substantially more banks are at risk. Overall, these calculations suggest that recent declines in bank asset values very significantly increase the fragility of the U.S. banking system to uninsured depositor runs. This comes as banks tapped the Fed for $165 billion in backstop liquidity, signaling banks are struggling to cover their funds. But as Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned on Thursday, not all uninsured deposits would be rescued by FDIC if future banks failed. So that means that people will lose their money. This, in other words, only the big banks would be saved. This is bad news, isn't it? This is by Neam Harris on News Punch. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box.